There's something special about a mature woman. Her experience, her confidence, and that unique spark that only years and life can give. But capturing her attention goes beyond the obvious. It requires something different, something most men don't truly know how to offer. Because honestly, what they value isn't so obvious, and in fact, very few men understand those subtle things that make them light up. Today we're going to uncover 5 things that mature women love, but that only 3% of men know how to do. I'll give you a guide that isn't about the usual approach, but about real emotional mastery, and a depth they'll never forget. Attracting a mature woman is an adventure where words aren't always necessary, and where gestures and attitude have a stronger impact than any line. So, if it's your first time here, I'm Celia, and welcome. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because in this space, we'll be exploring the mysteries of female psychology together. Today, I invite you on a journey of self-discovery, where you'll find aspects of yourself that won't just attract a woman, but will enrich every part of your life. Let's get started. Number 1, the unspoken presence. If there's one thing mature women deeply value, it's a man's ability to truly be present. Not just physically, but in a way that can be felt without words. It's something conveyed in his gaze, in how he listens, and in how his gestures show full attention. When a man can do that, when he creates a silent space for connection without feeling uncomfortable, he projects a unique confidence. Because being present without speaking is an act of control and surrender that very few men understand, and only 3% truly master. Let me share a story. Years ago, my close friend Veronica told me something that left an impression on me. She'd met someone special, a man who didn't come in with compliments or clever lines. He was different. When I was with him, she said, I didn't need to say anything. There was no urge to fill the space with empty words. He knew how to listen and look without interruptions or impatience. And for the first time, she felt she could be herself without fear of being judged or corrected. After many years, Veronica found in this man a quality she had stopped expecting. A man who could create a connection in silence. Why is this so powerful? Presence has the power to convey a self-assurance that many mature women find irresistible. As psychologist Carl Rogers put it, when I look at another with acceptance and understanding, I'm offering one of the most profound acts of love. This kind of genuine presence allows her to feel safe, to let her guard down, and to open up emotionally without forcing anything. It's not about filling the silence, but about respecting it, something only achieved when a man is fully present in both body and mind without distraction. In a world where everyone's rushing, where everyone's competing to be the center of attention, the ability to be silent, to listen, and to accompany without the urge to interject is like an oasis in the desert. Many mature women have been through relationships where words were overused, where gestures were calculated. Over time, they come to value the man who can simply be there, like an anchor, unhurried, offering a space that allows both to connect on a much deeper level. This kind of presence isn't something just anyone can achieve easily. It requires a mastery over oneself, over one's own ego, and a capacity to set aside the need to impress or score points. Stoic philosophy often speaks about the here and now, and Epictetus summed it up well. We cannot learn what we think we already know. Presence requires letting go of the urge to anticipate or expect answers, and instead staying open to what the other has to share. So, my friend, if you ever find yourself in that moment where the conversation fades, where words seem unnecessary, don't get nervous. Practice that conscious presence. Maintain eye contact without hurry, listen with genuine intent, and observe her response. You may find that in that shared silence, something much stronger than any words is born. A mature woman perceives and values this level of connection because she knows how rare it is. As Antoine de Saint-Exupéry wrote in The Little Prince, what is essential is invisible to the eye. Sometimes what is essential is also what doesn't need to be said. So, if you want to capture the attention of a mature woman, Start by developing your ability to be truly present. It's not about being eloquent or interesting every minute. It's about being genuine and creating an authentic connection that, even in silence, gives her a space of peace and authenticity. Because in that unspoken presence, my friend, lies the essence of what mature women adore and what very few men understand. Number 2, the courage to question the conventional. Many mature women find an irresistible appeal in men who have the courage to question what others take for granted, especially regarding relationships and life itself. After decades of experiences and relationships, routine and expectations can become a burden only a man with an open, curious mind knows how to transform into freshness and excitement. This isn't about a simple change of plans or meaningless acts of rebellion, but rather the ability to question the norms and frameworks that relationships tend to impose. A man who isn't afraid to break the mold, to explore new ways of being together, and to create unexpected closeness is as fascinating as he is refreshing to a woman who has already seen the typical. You may wonder, why is this so important? Because by this point, a mature woman has lived through many stages and knows how easily relationships can become predictable or routine over time. She values a man who dares to go a little further, who's willing to reimagine life as a couple with curiosity and creativity, creating something unique for them both. Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "We all need chaos within us to give birth to a dancing star." Sometimes the spark that ignites an unforgettable bond arises from challenging what everyone assumes is unchangeable, from exploring the unknown together without fear. Think of it this way. If you're in a relationship right now or close to someone special, don't be afraid to introduce new ideas, ask questions you've never explored together, or switch up even a small detail in your daily routine. Maybe you could suggest a spontaneous getaway or propose activities you've never tried together. These kinds of gestures spark curiosity and interest, and above all, build a unique connection, a closeness that shows her a new version of you, someone willing to defy the ordinary. Let me share a story. Some time ago, I met Enrique, a man who, after 35 years of marriage, decided to take a radical turn in his relationship. His wife, Elisa, had lost her spark, and so had he. After so many experiences together, they kept falling into the same routines, the same places, the same conversations. But one day, Enrique decided to surprise her. He suggested they visit a city they'd never seen, took her to an activity he knew she'd love, and with every step, he asked her questions about her life and desires, as if he were meeting her for the first time. Enrique wasn't trying to impress her. He was rekindling something real by challenging the idea that they already knew everything about each other. The truth is, this kind of courage, to break the mold, isn't something all men are willing to try. It's easy to stay in the comfort zone, in what's familiar. But a man who dares to question and explore new possibilities with her, who pulls her out of her expectations and invites her into an intellectual or emotional adventure, is someone she won't soon forget. This is what ancient philosophers called the path of discovery, learning about oneself through the other. So the next time you have the chance, shake up the script a little, explore new paths together, and show her that there's still something new to discover, something as exciting as that very first moment you met. Because in the end, it doesn't matter how many years have passed. True maturity lies in being brave enough to rewrite the rules of the familiar and keep the spark of the unpredictable alive. So if things are starting to feel a bit routine, remember this: the courage to question the conventional and to surprise her isn't just a strategy. It's an invitation for both of you to rediscover each other. Because with every small revolution you create in your relationship, you're also becoming a man who continues to grow. Number 3, the power of decisive vulnerability. There's a unique strength in a man who isn't afraid to show his vulnerable side. This vulnerability isn't just about opening up and sharing what hurts, but about being able to show himself fully, authentically, without shields or pretense. A mature woman with her own life experiences deeply appreciates and respects a man who doesn't need to prove his strength every second, but who can also embrace and share his doubts, his successes and mistakes, and the experiences that have shaped him. In my close circle, I once met a man named Raphael who had been widowed for years. When he met Laura, after being alone for so long, he felt something stirring that calm he'd grown used to. It wasn't easy. He was accustomed to independence and the silence of single life. Instead of hiding those feelings, he chose to share them with her. One day, while they were talking outside, Raphael admitted, "I haven't been in a relationship in many years. I don't know if I'm doing this right, and honestly, sometimes it scares me not knowing if I'm capable of giving you what you deserve." Laura, instead of pulling away or looking down on him, gazed at him more tenderly than ever. Because in that decisive vulnerability, Raphael showed her a sincerity few men allow themselves, and Laura valued it deeply. When a man shows his vulnerability with confidence and without fear, he creates a much deeper connection. This is something that many men, especially from older generations, have struggled to embrace because they grew up believing that true manhood meant being impenetrable, always strong without a hint of fragility. However, modern psychology tells us that what really builds a solid connection is precisely that ability to accept and share one's vulnerabilities. As psychiatrist Carl Jung said, "What we deny submits us, what we accept transforms us." Showing vulnerability doesn't weaken a man, it makes him authentic, trustworthy, and someone a mature woman finds reassuringly sincere. Science backs this up too. According to Brené Brown, a leading researcher on the subject, vulnerability is at the heart of the most meaningful human experiences. Her studies reveal that people who can share their emotions and speak openly about what's on their hearts tend to build stronger, more fulfilling relationships. When a man opens up bravely, women often see him as someone secure in himself because he's unafraid of being seen as he truly is. And this, my friend, is an unspoken invitation for her to feel free to lower her own defenses. It's important to understand that decisive vulnerability isn't simply about talking about one's weaknesses or spilling fears all at once. It's about showing up as you are, with your imperfections, without feeling the need to justify every part of your life. This decisive vulnerability doesn't require dramatics or long confessions, but rather genuine moments when you can open up and express what you feel, think, or worry about without fear of what she might think. This isn't something every man can do because it takes great confidence and a deep understanding of oneself. But the man who achieves it, the one who has the courage to show up without masks, becomes someone a mature woman rarely forgets. Winston Churchill's story illustrates this well. This great leader, who faced one of the toughest eras in world history, openly admitted to his own internal battles and struggles with depression. Even so, he remained a figure of unshakable strength. Churchill's vulnerability didn't make him weaker. It humanized him, brought him closer to his people, and allowed him to face challenges with a depth only those who have accepted their humanity can understand. His example teaches us that vulnerability isn't a lack of strength. It is, in fact, one of its purest forms. So, my friend, if you have the opportunity to share something that worries you, something that has marked you, or even your dreams and fears, don't be afraid to do so. Because every time you reveal that decisive vulnerability, you're building an invisible bridge between you, a space of trust and sincerity that she will value as one of the deepest gifts a man can offer. Remember, vulnerability isn't about falling into fragility. It's about finding the power in being who you are without adornment or defenses. And that, my friend, is the true strength that a mature woman appreciates and respects. If you're enjoying the video so far and discovering those rarely discussed aspects of what mature women truly value, don't forget to subscribe and give it a thumbs up to support this content. Stay with me until the end because the most surprising lessons are yet to come. And for those who truly want to understand these subtleties of attraction and mystery, I have a final reflection that might completely change your perspective on relationships. Let me know, where are you listening from? I'd love to know. Let's keep going. Number 4, the art of the intentional gaze. Few gestures are as powerful, yet as overlooked, as eye contact. An intentional gaze can create a connection so deep and meaningful that, simply by holding it, the atmosphere between two people can be transformed. Mature women greatly value a man who knows how to stop and truly look, unhurried, with genuine presence. This isn't a casual or accidental glance. It's a conscious and powerful act that communicates without words, showing interest, confidence, and above all, authenticity. Science supports the profound effect of prolonged eye contact. According to neuropsychological studies, direct eye contact activates the limbic system, the part of the brain responsible for emotions and bonding. Psychologist Joan Kellerman of the University of Massachusetts conducted a fascinating experiment. She put strangers face to face and asked them to maintain eye contact for 2 minutes without speaking. In the end, most reported an intense emotional connection and, in some cases, feelings of attraction. The reason for this is simple. Sustained eye contact increases the production of oxytocin, known as the bonding hormone. No wonder, then, that an intentional gaze can stir emotions and build trust. Mature women have been through many stages in relationships. They're experts at discerning when a look is superficial and when, on the contrary, it carries genuine intent. A well-sustained, direct gaze has a natural magnetism because it shows a man who knows how to be present, who doesn't get easily distracted, and who feels secure in his own skin. This kind of eye contact embodies what the ancient philosophers called sophrosyne, a Greek term referring to a mix of self-control, presence, and inner harmony. Aristotle considered this virtue key to living a balanced life, and interestingly, its essence can be reflected in something as subtle as a gaze. By practicing the art of the intentional gaze, one doesn't just become a good conversationalist, but an excellent observer. Learning to read in someone else's eyes is an art few people master, yet it leaves a lasting impression. French writer Anaïs Nin described it beautifully. We looked at each other, and trust was built without words. At its core, looking into someone's eyes is daring to understand and discover, and for many women, this shows a level of intimacy and respect that runs deep. Moreover, eye contact has its own language, and through it, you can convey as much interest as desire without saying a word. If you notice in a conversation that she responds to your gaze, that her eyes reflect that same focus, or that she feels comfortable maintaining eye contact with you, you're on fertile ground. Social psychology suggests that small movements in the eyes, like the widening of pupils, are signs of attraction. This isn't something we consciously control. It's a natural response when a person feels interest or desire. So, by observing these details, you're also learning to communicate in a silent, authentic way. Next time you find yourself in a deep conversation, try pausing and looking at her without looking away. Give that pause the time it deserves, and let the intention behind your gaze speak for itself. This isn't something most men master because it requires being present without rushing, willing to listen without words, and to convey without speaking. And my friend, if you can master this art, you'll find that the impact of an intentional gaze is far stronger than you might imagine. Number 5, the patience to cultivate mystery. For many mature women, attraction also lies in that touch of mystery that keeps curiosity alive in a man who knows how to pace what he reveals and doesn't show all his cards from the start. There's something irresistible about the patience of someone who understands that not everything needs to be said right away, because they know that true interest and attraction are cultivated over time. This kind of man sees that seduction isn't about impressing at all costs, but about building a connection that unfolds slowly, like a novel you're eager to read, page by page. Neuropsychology suggests that mystery in a relationship stimulates the brain, generating ongoing interest. This phenomenon is largely due to the Zeigarnik effect, a psychological principle that states people remember incomplete or interrupted tasks better. What does this mean for attraction? That by revealing only certain aspects of yourself, you spark her curiosity, inviting her to find what's between the lines, to read between pauses, and to interpret subtle gestures. A man with mystery doesn't hide who he is. He simply knows that attraction grows best when paced. This doesn't mean being aloof or inaccessible, but understanding that a deep connection needs space to evolve. As philosopher Alain de Botton said, curiosity is the spark that ignites the deepest bonds, and a man who knows how to save something for later invites a story worth living. Cultivating mystery isn't about manipulation or coldness. It's an art that few men master. In conversation, instead of sharing all your experiences or thoughts instantly, allow some details to linger. Let her want to know more, and if she asks questions, respond without haste, creating room for her to share her own experiences too. This builds a shared space of discovery where you both get to know each other deeply without rushing or falling into routine. Think of those everyday details you can save as small surprises, a hobby, a story from your youth, an unfulfilled dream. Each of these details is like a hook that invites her to want to know more, and in that process of exploration, the bond grows stronger. Researcher Helen Fisher, an expert on the biology of love, claims that anticipation and mystery are key to keeping the excitement alive in a relationship, as they spark interest and create a kind of emotional hunger that keeps the spark going. So next time you're talking with her, rather than rushing to share everything about yourself, let patience be your ally. Allow her to wonder, take your time revealing yourself, and let both of you enjoy the process of discovery. Because in the end, my friend, well-cultivated mystery isn't just a game. It's a way of building something authentic and lasting, leaving room for surprise and the desire to keep exploring together. In the end, what a mature woman truly values isn't just sweet words or grand gestures, but the small details that reveal authenticity, depth, and a genuine understanding of who you are and what you want to build with her. The qualities we discussed today aren't superficial techniques. They're ways of connecting from the most sincere part of yourself, of building something real and lasting. Because a man's allure isn't only in what he says or does, but in how he cultivates his own inner world and allows others to discover it, gradually, without rush or pressure. My name is Celia, and I want this to be a space where we can talk about these topics openly and authentically, without filters, but always with respect. Here, we go beyond superficial advice. Together, we explore the nuances of life and relationships that aren't always spoken about, but have a deep impact on our happiness and well-being. Because every step we take towards self-understanding, every sincere reflection, is a gift to ourselves and is reflected in those around us. If this is your first time on the channel, I invite you to subscribe and hit the notification bell. You won't want to miss upcoming topics, because I promise will not only surprise you, but also help you better understand the emotions that make us truly human. And if you've made it this far, I know you're committed to your own growth, and that's something I want to acknowledge. To see who truly resonated with this message, comment with the phrase, "I love wisdom," and let me know where you're listening from. I want to know who's sharing this journey with me. See you in the next video, where we'll keep exploring those secrets and insights that allow us to live a fuller life together.